Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to marriage.
Let's do it again.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Marriage Mondays, where we spend Mondays talking about marriage. My name's Amir.
My name is Kamara. Oh, my name is Kumar, and today we're going to read a Q&A because someone just asked Q&A a Q, and we're going to answer. Okay, so hold on, let me pull it up. It made more sense in my mind when I first said it than I realized when I wanted to repeat it, although that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to say
it. Didn't make no sense.
Question of the week. What's a topic that you would like to see us cover in the coming weeks?
And it doesn't really have to be surrounded by marriage. If you want a different topic around different things, current events, or anything, our opinions, you good with that?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
What should a man or woman do when their parents don't like the spouse they're married to, and their spouse constantly isn't getting along with the other person's parents due to the dislike? Should they allow this to have an impact on their marriage or end it for the family?
So
it's like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, your parents.
And your spouse.
Yeah, they're getting into it.
Like, eesh.
So I guess to start off, I would just consider the situation of the person. So if you're living with your parents, you're going to have more clashes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're living with people who aren't your spouse, especially family members, they're going to be a lot more judgmental and kind of overbearing on what is it? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, overbearing sounds like the word you're looking for.
Yeah, overbearing,
hovering, like a helicopter parent.
Yeah, hovering over
helicopter in-law.
Your relationship. And so they're going to nitpick at any little thing that you do, and naturally that's going to irritate you, and it's not going to be able to foster a good relationship between the two parties. So if you're living with your parents, that's to be expected. Now, on the other hand, if you're not living with your parents and you're still you're having all of these constant clashes between the families, then or between the parties, then you might have a really big issue in your hand.
Yeah, but I know, like, in the Muslim community especially, counseling is seen as something that's so, like, taboo for some reason, you know? But I honestly feel like in this situation, some type of mediation should happen. Like, if your spouse has, like, if your spouse yeah, that's what I thought. If your spouse has already spoken to, like, their parents and said, you know what, hey, you need to back off, my wife is feeling this way, or my husband is feeling this way, and, you know, you're doing a little bit too much. Like, if the spouse has already said that and the parents are, like, continuing to cause, like, a problem in the relationship, then I definitely think it's time to get a third party involved, you know? Mm-hmm. Like an imam at the masjid, or, like I said, a counselor, family counseling, you know, something to kind of get everyone together and voice why they're upset.
Yeah, and if you are going to bring in a counselor or something like that, make sure that you bring in a third party who's neutral, mm-hmm. not someone who is a friend of yours or a friend of your parents, because then you're not going to get you're not going to get anything accomplished, because you're going to feel, there's going to be a bias, and you're going to, or someone is going to acknowledge that bias, and it's not gonna help. So when bringing in a party, make sure that it's someone who you know is going to be neutral.
Mm-hmm. Ending a marriage is a big deal. It is that, like, divorce. That's not something that's easy, especially if it's not like the actual couple. If it's like a third party, like parents, who are just, you know, causing that, like, barrier between the husband and wife, like, that's messed up.
Yeah, but I don't think that it said it's causing a barrier between the husband and wife. But I guess one thing that's not expressed in the email is the level of kind of aggression that each person is showing towards one another. Mm-hmm. And I think that hyper aggression towards your parents is something that you shouldn't stand for. So if someone's swearing at your parents and things like
sure,
that,
yeah, I mean,
that's something that I don't think that you should stand for, because especially for someone who's newer to marriage, that's a sign that possibly down the line you're going to be in that same situation, right?
Yeah, where that aggression is directed towards you.
Exactly. And if they don't have the decency to tone it down and respect your parents, then they're not going to have the decency to do the same to you when you guys are, alone, or maybe it's 4 or 5 years down the line.
In the heat of an argument or
Right,
anything.
right.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that when I read the email.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that would be cause for me to end a marriage, because I don't want to be put in that situation. And if you're seeing these signs early on, it's best to leave early on than later on, because as you get deeper and deeper into a marriage, you get
It becomes harder and harder to do it.
It becomes harder and harder to get away. You might have children, or you're just really attached to this individual. And we see time and time again when that people who stay in longer term relationships are more likely to accept abuse.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Amir said, like the level of disrespect, like what's happening. Like if someone comes up to your parents, they're like, hey, why is your father sitting in the front seat? Like, you need to tell him to get in the back. Like, if your spouse is disrespecting your parents, which is causing your parents to dislike your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
Yeah. But also, on the other hand, if it's your parents that are showing somewhat hyper aggression towards your spouse, then maybe you have to sit down and have a conversation with your parents to figure out, like, why is this? Like, why are you treating my husband or my wife this way, right? And you just have to, you're a grown, you're like, when you get married, you're grown, you're an adult. So you have to make adult choices, and you're going to have to sit down and have a conversation with your parents.
Mm-hmm. My question is, it's like, did this dislike happen before marriage? Like, throughout the entire process? Was it was your parents expressing that they just didn't like the person that you chose? Like, that's another question. Like, were you aware that there were going to be problems down the line, and was your spouse aware that there were going to be problems down the line because of the family issue?
Right.
That's a good question.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it sounds like, so like if you're having, I don't know if I already said this, but if you're having all of these clashes with where your spouse is having clashes with your parents, it sounds like you must be living with your parents, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're living with your parents, yeah, I did say this, but
no, you kind of mentioned it, but
whatever. If you're living with your parents, then you should expect more confrontation.
And if you're not living with your parents, then it's like you need to have that conversation.
Right.
But if you are living with your parents, it's like you should probably move out. Like, you should make plans. I know, I mean, obviously that's easier said than done. But definitely, I feel like and depending on your situation, I feel like divorce should be kind of not even like thought of right now. I feel like taking other means of resolving the issue would be better than just immediately doing divorce.
So as far as options, right, we said that you should have a conversation with your parent, possibly bring in a third party. Also have, it sounds like you've already had conversations with your spouse, but maybe you should sit down with yourself, come up with a few ideas of like where you want to point the conversation, right? You don't want to come in and create an argument, right? Just have a conversation, and having a conversation that's not something that's you're attacking him, you can figure out where he or she is coming from. Why are they in conflict? Or maybe you know what the conflict is, right? So it's possible that you know exactly what you need to do, right? You know exactly who to talk to, and you're just looking for validation. So,
and then it brings to another thing, like, I know we mentioned before, like, what is it that they dislike? Do they have actual reason, like reasoning behind their dislike? Like Amir mentioned earlier about the, blatant disrespect. But also, is it habits that they have? Not just red flags, but, not just flaws, but major red flags. Like, what are these dislikes? And you got to kind of evaluate your situation and then kind of see. Because it's like, our advice is kind of limited because of the like limited amount of information we got from the email.
So in the future, like additional context would be
It would be easier to kind of.
Yeah, it would be easier to target. It'd be easier to provide better advice if we have more of a background and
Obviously not in that detail or anything like that.
We don't need a complete story or anything like that, but just a little bit of background information, and we probably won't read like, you know, a few paragraphs. We'll summarize it, and
yeah, I hope that helped.
I hope it did.
Hope help somebody. Hope somebody benefited from the video.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe because we're back.
Yeah. Also, if you have any questions, you can ask. What's the email?
JustAskQandA@gmail.com. I'm gonna put it in the thing because I forgot it, so I'm gonna put it in the description because I don't want to give out the wrong email and people start sending an email to some random person.
Yeah,
that would be bad. That would be bad.